Namaste, welcome to Buddha's teaching. Today, we're gonna touch on the law of impermanence a little bit more. The law of impermanence regarding mind, that we also can refer to it as a mental process. Our mind, as we all know, is impermanent. What does that mean? The mind that we have often refer to or often draw in the example of Buddha's teaching. The Buddha often compare the mind to the water source, or we call like the geyser, right? Or the spring water. If you have been to a spring or to see a water geyser, you see that the geyser has the water that keeps coming up, right, pushing up from the ground. But the geyser is, of course, is hot. Or the spring water in a mountain or anywhere that you are familiar with, you see water bubbling up, coming out from the rock or coming from the ground, right? Cold water. Normally, if it comes from the mountain or from the rock, normally it's cold water. But it's that bubbling up of the water, right, from the ground up. Okay, when the water is pushed up like that, okay, it's gushing out. Okay, so that is a lot of time what the Buddha compare our mind to. Okay, our mind is just like that. The mental moment, mental action keep changing all the time, right? And as we all know, our mind or our mental activity that is going on right now, it keeps bubbling up like this. Okay, the mind is bubbling up like this constantly, right? Constantly while we are awake. Most a little bit while when we sleep, that's why we have dream. But most of the activity is happening when we are awake, right? So the mind keeps bubbling up like this. Okay, it's just like the water geyser or the spring water that's push up. So it go bloop, 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 right, pushing up like this. So the mind is constantly processing. Okay, the mind is constantly processing all the data, all the information that is that comes up to contact with our six senses, right? So our six senses are the doors for this body here to have contact, to have experience with the environment, with everything around us, and also within. All right. So the mind is like that. So the mind is keeps coming up constantly, just like the water geyser or the spring water at the source. So in another word, the mind does not stay still. Okay, the mind keeps going up like this. There are times, of course, that we know when we are angry, so the water come out is hot, right? Hot geyser. And when we are pleasant, when we are cool, so that is spring water, right? It's cool. Or sometimes the water can be, room temperature depending on the location. So the mind is also like that. At one moment, the mind is happy. At one moment, the mind is angry, right? And it come up like this. And at one moment, the mind is sad, right? At one moment, the mind is jealous, is depressed, okay? And all of that, all the emotion that we have, that human being have, these are the the experience. These are the action. These are of the mind, right? These are the mental action. Okay, so as the mind keeps bubbling up like this, based on the experience. Okay, the experience, as you already know, is that when we see, right? Okay, for example, when we see a person, when we see an object, when we see a movie or whatever, that is one of this water bubble that push up, right? The mental activity when we see things and the mind conceive it, okay, and then there's normally reaction, right? There's reaction, and then it keeps going up like this. As long as we see that, and the mind keeps pushing up like this, so now we are constantly see it, and the experience is continuous, right? The experience is continuous. So let's say you're having a conversation with a person, so in that particular exchange, your mind is continuously bubbling up like this based on the vision that you see, because the contact between you and the person. And let's say if the person is your friend, so you talk normally, you smile or whatnot, right? Based, and you also experience through your ear, all right, and you comprehend the language and you communicate. So the mind is bubbling up like that. Okay, so now from one moment to the next, the mind can change just like that, of course, as you know. Let's say you're having that conversation, okay, and at that particular moment, your mind is neither happy nor mad or anything. It's just in the neutral mode, right? And or what we call equanimous mode, that has no bias or whatever. You just have normal conversation, okay? So the mental state at that time, the mind at that time is at the, let's say, room temperature. Okay, so it's normal. And after you have some kind of conversation and their opinions exchange about things, whatever, and then all of a sudden the mind change, right, based on that conversation. So the bubbling could turn it either cold, pleasant, right, happy to hear what the other person say, so that come through the hearing experience, or the water that come up can be hot, which means that you can turn angry, upset, or mad with the person based on the exchange, right? So the mind is bubbling up like this. At one moment the mind is cool, at one moment the mind is hot, at one moment the mind is uh, equanimous, is neutral, and it changes from one mental state to another depending on the experience that we are encountering with our six senses, right? The five here and the big mind, the central CPU, we call this sixth sense number six. So now think about this, okay? So at one particular moment, let's say you you have some kind of conversation, and then let's say you are angry, okay, so now the mind is hot, right? The water is hot, the geyser is hot. Normally, for most of us lay people, okay, we say I am angry, right? I am upset, I'm mad. When and you express it, I mean, a lot of time you don't say I'm angry, it's just like, oh, the anger arise, okay, the anger arise. So at that particular moment, you yourself say that I am angry, that I am upset, okay. So at that particular moment, you, okay, I'm gonna quote, you are angry, all right. So now if you is the anger, okay, um, is it is solidify you, that you can identify, okay, you is the anger. Is it possible to identify that when you say that, oh, I am angry? Okay, can you solidify that I, okay, as the anger? You cannot. Why? It's because that is just a mental activity. Okay, there is no I. It's a mental. It's the mind that is angry, because after that particular encounter, okay, after you have that whatever going on with that person or whatever situation, right, and a little bit later on, your mind change, okay, based on different scenario, situation, news, different person or whatnot. Your mind change to neutral or change to even happy. All right, so now let's look at this. At this particular moment, a while ago, you said, I am angry. Okay, that is you right there. I am angry. But now I am happy, right? I am having a good time. Okay, or now I have no emotion, no happy, nor not happy. I'm neutral. So ask yourself, which one is it that is really you? Are you the angry person, or are you the happy person, or the neutral person? Okay, so some of you may say that, oh, I'm all of that. Okay, now how many of you can there be? Right? Are you there? It how there can be more than one you? Okay, there is, it's not possible, correct? As you know that it's not possible. There's the you that you identify yourself with, that particular emotion, is not solid. It's just an emotion, and then it change. Okay, so that's why it's called, that's why we call whatever that goes on there, the mental activity, the feeling that we have, the emotion that we have, whatever it is impermanent. It does not stay solid and stuck in that emotion. No, it change, right? It's just a flow of energy. It change. Okay, so now if you is not the, so think about it, follow me. Okay, so there's no you, that the you cannot be identified with this angry, with this anger. You cannot identify yourself that this is it, this is me right here, I'm the neutral guy, or I'm the pleasant guy. It's not possible, because these are just mental action, the mental activity that goes on, that change, right, ups and down based on the experience. Okay, so in another word, there is not a you that is doing all of this. You follow? There is not a you that is doing the angry, that I am angry, or I am happy, or I am neither happy nor unhappy. There is no I, right? There is no I. There is only mental experience, mental action, okay, mental process that is changing all the time. Okay, that is changing from one emotion to the next, from one emotion to the next. Okay, that's all there is to it while we are awake. Okay, it's just the same thing as the bubble or the geyser. It keeps bubbling up, the water keeps pushing up, because there's energy in at the bottom that push, okay, the water up, right? The energy push the water up, and the water just bubble up, and then it just flows, right? The water flows just down the stream, and once the water flow, that water does not come back. Okay, that water flow down the stream and go all the way to sea, right? It goes end up in the sea. Okay, So that water that come up never return back into the source. It goes out to sea, right? It flow down the stream, the brook, the river, and it goes down to the lower terrain. The same as our mental activity. Okay, our mental activity that is keep coming up constantly while we are awake. Okay, keeps coming up. Our thought, our emotion. Okay, that we having on a daily basis. All right, on and off, on and off. All of this mental activity, mental emotion here. Once it comes up and it disappears, it's gone forever. Okay, that that whatever uh, mental activity at that particular moment that bubble up, it just flow and it's gone, and then the new one come up again. Okay, so for example, even within the fraction of the second, all right, that you have some kind of communication. Okay, the process, the mental process is very fast and very quick. Of course, if I turn off the light right now, you cannot see me, right? You can still hear. Okay, so another word, the mind, your mind, my mind, that is associated with vision depends on the light, right? And depending on the eyes. Okay, so as it process, it's very fast. So it seems like nothing, it's just very solid and constant, right? But actually, it's processing really fast. Okay, um, but the truth of it is, we are always seeing things new all the time. It's not the same. It's not the same object that we're seeing. It's not the same person that we are seeing. It's not the same tree that we're seeing. It's not. It's changing all the time. But we cannot uh, we do not have the capacity to recognize that. Okay, to recognize that it's always changing, that a mental process is so fast, it seems like nothing's changing, right? When you look at the, let's say, a wall in front of you, the wall is there. Okay, nothing is changing, but in actuality it's changing all the time. The mind is like this, but it goes very fast. You don't see the change. Okay, but if I turn off the light, you'll see the change. If I turn the light back on, you'll see the change, right? But when it's on all the time, when the light is on all the time like this, and you know the speed of light that shine, that come into your eyes, into your eyeballs, you cannot differentiate that, the difference between what is new, what is old, because it's constant, right? It seems so constant to you. It's the same, but actually our mind is always new, it's always fresh, and it's always never the same. Okay, it's never, the our mind, our mental stream is always flowing, it's always changing. Okay, so that's why we call it impermanent mind. All right, so our mind is impermanent. There is, and if a person can understand that, okay, the mental process that right now, as you are sitting there, you hear, you see, it's all the product of the mind, right? The mind is working, right? Is processing all the information, okay, that comes into, right, the different colors that you see around you, the tree, the room, or the whatever that you see, or what you hear, or what you smell, okay, or when you eat, what you taste, or all this information, okay, that is interpreted by your mind, right? It's interpreted by your mind. So all this changing activity is happening, boom, just like that, all the time. And but it's all the time, and this incredible machine here process all that information seamlessly, like no big deal. But in actuality, this incredible body is doing a beyond words amazing job. Okay, you don't know how to describe it because this body is doing such an amazing job that it we take it for granted. Okay, we 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 we, we do not realize that there's all kinds of processing going on, all right, with the five senses that we have. Okay, so after this, I hope you sit down and think for yourself. All right, the mental experience that we have. Okay, as you are right now, you are experiencing the sound from me, you're experiencing what you see. Okay, all this, the flow, and you are able to comprehend it, right? It change, right? It change all the time. So again, there is no you doing it because you cannot be identified with one particular moment, solidify it that say, aha, that's is me. There is it's not possible that you can say, aha, that's me, I am that right there at that particular moment. It's not, right? Because it's the process, right? It's the mental flow, right? So the mental flow is what we because we're not aware of it. This mental flow is so perfect, we think there's somebody doing it. You think that you are doing it. Okay, but when we look into that you, who that you is, there is not a you anywhere. You follow? There is not a you anywhere that is doing all this processing. Okay, there's not a you anywhere that is doing the angry, right? Because if you is identified as angry, what about the you that is happy? There is no, this one is me, this one is also me, right? This is also me. No, it's just changing. Okay, there is no you, right? There's no you. Okay, there is changing mental activities based on all of this information. See, this is a very very fundamental concept in Buddha's teaching. Okay, this is what it leads to the understanding of non-self. All right, the in Buddha's teaching, as you all know, the Buddha taught about form, right, the body, and the mind, citta, right. So the form which is one aggregate, and citta or the mind, the Buddha has broken it down to the four aggregates, right? So together it's five, and I have covered all of that in the earlier episode. That I would encourage you to go through them if you are interested in finding out this you. Okay, so in Buddha's teaching, when the Buddha break this down to see this self-identification right here, you see the body is the body and the mind is the mind. Where is I? There is no I. There is the mind flow. Okay, the experience, the bubbling up of the water is similar. It's the same thing, right? The experience that we have. There isn't a me anywhere. That I, that the I that is mistaken by most of the people is the ego I. Okay, the, because when people are not aware of this, okay, when people could not never come across this kind of thinking, okay, the breakdown of the mind, the breakdown of the body, right, when the Buddha dissect the mind to to show you, okay, what is the mind, what is it that we refer to as I. Okay, so when we look into the mind, when we look into the I, we cannot find I. We find the mental process, the changing emotion of the mind. Yes, the changing process, but who's doing it? There isn't anyone doing it. It's just the mind is changing, and that all happens while we are awake. Okay, while we are awake, when we sleep, when we go to sleep, all of that is gone, right? When we go, let's say you have a deep sleep, the mental activity go to rest. Okay, mental activity go to rest. The mind is at rest. There's no you. You see, you there's no you anywhere. Okay, there's mental process, but there is no you. There's no I. It's nowhere to be found. But there is consciousness. That's why we talk about consciousness, because when the body is awake, we become conscious, and the mind is running again. All right, the mind access the memory, of course, right? So the memory is another big things about uh, all the living beings. They all have memories, big or small, and that's how we a lot of time we mistake ourselves by identify ourselves with the memory, right? So as you wake up, now the mind comes back. Okay, when the mind comes back, we misunderstand that as me again, right? I'm again, but it's just the mental activity that is supported by the body. The body still function, the body is still working properly, still have energy. So the geyser is still have water coming out, right? There's energy pushing the water out. There's energy, so it's called life energy. As long as there's life energy, so the pulse is still going, the heart is still pumping, it's pumping energy and keeps this body warm, and then it enables us to become conscious, right? So the consciousness create enable the senses to experience everything. Okay, but this is all happening by itself, and we're mistaken with that. I am doing that. That is something for you to sit down to analyze it for yourself, whether this is something that you can agree to for yourself or not. Okay, this is the teaching. The teaching is about dissecting the eye, looking at the mind, looking at that eye, and then finding out that eye. In Buddha's teaching, the non-self is this. Okay, after the Buddha breaks down the mind, look at all the ingredients, all the faculties that make up the mind, and there's no you doing anything, right? There is just mental process. That's why the Buddha said, oh, okay, since this is all just the flow, but there's no I that is doing anything. So who is who was born and who died? Okay, think about that. There is no I that was born, and there is no I that will die. Okay, there is no I anywhere. There is mental process that is flowing since birth, as we take up, as the body takes up birth and come out, and body with an empty brain, and they start collecting experiences, start collecting memory, the experience, the 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 five senses start collecting information, and and information all the way stored in the brain, in the memory. Okay, and that's how we grow. Okay, but that's all there is to it. Okay, there is no I that was born. There's a body, there's mental activity that is going on within that particular body. Okay, and that body is keeps growing based on the food that it consumes. Okay, so when there is no I, no one has ever been born, and there's no one will ever die. because there is no I. Okay, in Buddha's teaching, the Buddha referred to the body when at the end of the cycle, let's say it's just like a vehicle, it has its range, right? 20 years, let's say, about a particular body, it grows like that. It's just like trees or anything else that is, in the universe. It grows and it reaches a certain potential of its growth, and then it just goes back, and at one point it just stops and it breaks down. Okay, there's a breakdown of the body, and that is what we usually refer to as somebody died, right? But there is no somebody that died there, but there is a breakdown of the body. Okay, that's how the in Buddha's teaching refer to when the body breaks down, and that is it. There's nobody die. It's the body that reach the end of its usefulness. There's no more energy that is able to support it, and it breaks down. Okay, but there is no I anywhere. Okay, that born, there's no I that will die. Okay, why is it so important? The fundamental, the most important thing that we can draw from this is that for most of us who are living right now on this planet, we have this I, big. Okay, this I am. Okay, because of this. Okay, this is what we call, the Buddha called ignorance. Right, the delusion of this self I cause us, each and every single one of us, to have greed. Okay, to have anger, because greed leads to anger, to cling on to things, okay, to attach on to things. It's because we all misunderstand what this I is all about, right? If we can understand that the I is not there, what is it that we have to cling on to, right? What is it that we need to attach to, right? First, you get to understand yourself, and then once you can truly understand that concept, you can see that in other person also. Another human being is the same as you. Okay, but until they can understand this Buddhist concept, people identify themselves as I. Okay, and because of that I have a misunderstanding of the true reality, that I is trying so hard to gather, right? To gather, right? To earn more, to gain more, okay? Popularity, fame, wealth, and all of that, more and more and more, because they think that there's an I somewhere, that I here, that they need to accumulate all these things to preserve this I, okay? To preserve this I. That I is called the deluded I. The person, there's a saying, okay, a person who understands this non-self concept settle all quarrels. Okay, the person who understands non-self settle all quarrels. At the end, they say, oh, okay, so what is the fuss all about? It's just this changing emotion, and at the end, it just, just flow away, and at the end, the body breaks down and goes back to earth, go back to become soil or whatnot. There is an I anywhere. So what is this clinging? What is this all about? What is this greed all about? right? What is this anger? What is this fight? To try to be right. Okay, I am right, you are wrong. I'm bigger, or I'm more this and more. People who understand non-self, settle all quarrels. Said, oh, okay, there's no need for that. We are human being. We Our lifespan is probably 80, lucky, right? 100 is very lucky. Okay, a lot of people don't even make to that. It seems to be long, but it's very short, right? It's very short. And during that little span of time that we have, experience all of this beautiful earth. Oh, the sky, the tree, the flowers. Okay, that precious moment, that very little precious moment that we have on this earth. What should we do? What should we do during that time? And I know there's no we, there's no I, but I'm talking in a conventional term. The time that we have become conscious on this planet, what is it that we need to do? Enjoying the planet, right? Or destroying the planet? Figure it out. Okay? Figure it out. So that is the concept. That is the most profound in Buddha's teaching. Okay? And this is what I like to share with you all today. So think about it. The different mental state that we all have, from the time that you wake up until the time you go to sleep. Okay? That time, there's all kinds of bubble of mental activities, of all kinds of emotion, and it flows. It never comes back. Okay? Everything is new. So that's why a lot of time you hear some people saying, concentrate on the present moment. This present moment right now that you are experiencing, that you are right there, you experience, this is your moment. This is your moment. Okay? Do the best with that moment. Right? Don't waste it with whatever. It's not worth your time. Okay? You have little time span on this planet. That's it. There's no big fuss. There's nothing. Okay? It's no big deal. Right? That's what life is. Life is a flow of energy. Okay? Constant flow of energy. Our mind, our mental process, constant flow of experience. And that's it. There's no I doing things. There's no. So that is something for you to ponder on, to analyze, to think for yourself. Okay? So until next time, I like to pay respect to the Triple Gems. I like to pay respect to the Buddha. I like to pay respect to the Dharma. And I like to pay respect to the Sangha. Namaste.